Too many teenagers are now turning to social media for validation. If you're on Facebook, I'm sure you've seen it. A teenager posts a photo of themselves, often called a selfie, then watches to see how many likes or positive comments follow, such as, "You're beautiful," or "You're such a stud." And it makes parents wonder why kids are turning to the internet for acceptance. For a closer look at what's called selfie syndrome, we're joined now by Dr. Greg Jantz, best-selling author and mental health expert. This grabbed our attention.
Wow, yes.
I think we've all seen it online. Are you seeing it as a real problem for teenagers?
Well, yes. And here's what I'm looking for: self-validation, and I want it from my peers. But then I may not, this abstract thinking, what I do now can affect my future.
Right.
They're not always thinking about that. And here's what I've seen. I've seen particularly gals who send pictures inappropriate. Later, there's huge regret. And we've had situations where kids have actually been suicidal.
And that's where it really becomes concerning.
Yes.
But for a lot of these kids, it may just be part of their daily lives. And isn't this just part of raising a teenager in this day and age, is that they may be posting photos and looking for validation online?
Technology part of it, but here's the suggestion. You got to be careful who you're listening to, and you could get some negative feedback, and your sense of self and self-esteem is still developing. So here, pick 3 people you respect, their feedback. Okay, and make one of them a lot older. Okay. Really. But if you're going to ask for feedback, be careful that you're not just asking for feedback from peers.
I think you hit on something, because really, if you think about it, this is a double-edged sword.
Absolutely.
Kids are looking for validation, but also those responding online can be brutal.
Oh, terribly.
And as you said, developing kids, their sort of self-respect can waver.
Yes.
So how do you get through to your kids, listen, this is not the best way to seek that sort of validation? How do you get that message through?
Well, you're going to tell them that some kids are going to say things that are to get a response, and they're not true. And you need to be careful about what you post, because there are going to be some that are going to be maybe even jealous of you and try to hurt you with words. This is where the cyberbullying comes in.
And kids really look to their peers.
Oh, they do. It's one of the most important things.
So how do you get them to look outward? To maybe look to their families, to their parents, for that sort of validation? Well,
I'm going to be concerned if my kid's posting a lot of pictures asking for validation. Okay, there's something else going on there. If I have to have so much of it that I'm doing a picture every day, how am I looking today,
Right.
And so there's something more going on there, particularly if we see adults doing this.
Let's hit on adults, because we see it with adults, and often, like you said, it's coupled with a message that says, how beautiful am I in this outfit, or how do I look, am I hot?
Yeah.
Is that a cry for help?
It could be a cry for help, and here's what you're going to look for. You're going to look for a person that's looking for their sense of self-worth and affirmation through what others are telling them online. Remember, we all look better online. Really. And we're going to be looking for certain things from others. It's to meet a need that's not being met elsewhere.
Should you say something immediately to the person posting all the photos? If your teenager is doing it, should you immediately open it up for a conversation?
Well, I'm going to be, because I'm involved in their online presence. I'm involved. I have their passwords. We're going to talk about things. And we also have certain rules, because I have boys, 11 and 14. We have certain rules about what you do online and don't.
What if it's not a teenager? What if it's a friend? Is it your obligation to say something? Because if you see it as a cry for help online, others are seeing it as well. It could be embarrassing for this person.
It could be real embarrassing, yes. Generally, here's what we find. People, over time, regret what they've posted online as it relates to pictures. I can't tell you how many times people say, I wish I wouldn't have done that.
So mention it.
It created so many problems for me. Yeah.
Mention it, but be gentle.
Be gentle. And I don't end up feeling any better about myself. In fact, I probably feel worse.
Give yourself some time before you post. They always say it.
Yep.
Dr. Jantz, good advice. Thanks so much.